Just two comments. One idea is I have said something about the need for resources. Also, you have mentioned that. Just a comment about when we talk about human resources. I prefer to add a little word inside. I would prefer to say human with resources than to consider humans just as resources. Just this, and I think teachers should be between those large sense of humans, those that we have to empower them with as much as new resources in this framework of this new ecology change. And the other comment is about education and market. The relationships we know in our region they are difficult, especially with the publisher, the textbooks publisher sector. But I will say that at the beginning there was a reaction, a negative reaction, or we push into the process of the digitalization of the textbooks. Now, after this first moments of negative reaction, now all the publishers are moving very fast to have as much as their content ready on digital form for the next September, when the new course will start. So I think also I'm not sure if one thing is that market-driven economy is one thing. I'm not sure if we have to have education, so market-driven education, I will say. I'm not sure.
Who wants to go next? Okay,
a few quick comments on a number of issues raised by all of you. First of all, thank you very much. On the teacher motivation bit, I've heard sort of two suggestions over the past year. One is advocated by a ICT expert in a school, and he told me that teachers everywhere would find new technology sometimes intimidating, and they don't want to try something new, get out of their comfort zone. So he advocates that we should retrofit, and this is his word, retrofit sort of IT into the classroom. So whatever the teacher is doing now, try to have a technology that allows them to deliver the same thing. I think that's one approach. The other approach that I'm personally very interested in is to find find areas where teachers cannot perform very well now. So one approach is to try to enable teachers to do better what they're already doing. Another approach, it seems to me, is to fill those unmet demand that teachers have. And it seems to me a few things, like handling learning diversity in the classroom. Teachers find it difficult. Dealing with special education needs, teachers find difficult. Encouraging collaboration among students. In the typical setting, it's not easy to do. And finally, games. All children seem to love computer games, and that's not something that textbooks can easily do. It's not terribly exciting for children to fill out crosswords these day and age, right? But they find it fascinating to kill off aliens on screen. So how do we leverage this sort of new technology to increase the learning motivation? This is something that I picked up from a book, Disruptive Technology. It's called Disrupting Class. It's a book about how innovation takes hold in technology sector and how that might be implemented in education. The other big dilemma that I find is that this idea that government needs to have a master plan. Yet the master plan should not be so restrictive that it discourages bottom-up innovation. And that's incredibly difficult to do. We could have a master plan, very prescriptive, and we legislate everything that ensure that things are done. But that it's not going to work. The industry will revolt. So the challenge for all government policymakers is how to strike that balance. How, for example, we have our big master plan, as I said 10 years ago, we have an education blueprint for the 21st century that we're still by and large following. education e-learning that we published last October. That hopefully should set up a framework, but not so restrictive that it will stifle innovation. Now, it seems to me in our position we always get caught between two forces. Both forces would say we're not doing enough. Those who believe that those who believe in big government think that we should legislate more. Those who believe in small government market believe that we're already legislating too much. Probably the truth is somewhere in between. And we're constantly juggling with this balance. And I think encouraging the industry also to get together and have a common voice is also important. Over the past few months, I think one accomplishment is we managed to get the IT guys to form a couple of consortiums to pursue e-learning. Hopefully through these industry-led consortium, there would be a more consensus emerging from the industry, and with that we can work with. Finally, very quick feedback to Bernard from Singapore. 21st century skills very much in fact on our agenda. Singapore is in fact one of the 4 founder countries, as you probably know, who is undertaking a study on 21st century skills, that's very much seems to me the skills pointed out by that working group is very much things that we have been all along talking about. Perhaps to they make it more specific and they make it more explicit, and that's very much in the back of our mind when we put this student-centric model together. Just very quick feedback.
Thank you.
Maybe I could follow on the comment about teachers, and there have been so many really perceptive questions here, but I think one of the keys is for us to seriously think about teachers as learners themselves. And I've spent over 2 decades going into classrooms and schools, particularly looking at places that are known for using more technology in their instruction, looking for places that are really doing a good job. And 2 things I've been struck by, and I hadn't really necessarily expected to see it. The most impressive things I see in classrooms, really the best learning activities, and when you start talking to the teacher about where this came from and how it came about, almost always it's not something that was done privately. The teacher has been working with other teachers to develop this. It's often collaborative, often across subject areas. And oftentimes there was a connection to a research organization, a university, or another team. So one of the things, I'm just underscoring what other people have said, is we've made teaching such a private practice that we've really handicapped teachers as learners. And we also really haven't thought deeply about their professional development over time. And I think that's something that we can, in fact, change. And we need to move away from what we have, at least in my country. Teachers get paid extra if they go and they get an extra degree, or if they attend training where they sit down and listen to people. But they don't get paid extra if they collaborate with university researchers on a research and development project. Or if, in fact, the teachers within a school get together and really come up with a new assessment system for their work and compare student work with each other. So I think if we seriously think about supporting teachers' learning and development through their careers, we can make it much more possible for them to use ICT well. And a lot of this collaboration will work online, and our systems, our policies should recognize it.